Welcome back to Extra Emerson. We're back to bringing fun discussions and games surrounding everything going on in the film industry, with some new twists this season. I'm Elle.
I'm Anthony.
And I'm Francis. And this season, we are your hosts. Our first discussion this season covers everything great and not so great coming out this coming year. The Super Bowl alone showed us some first looks at some extremely interesting projects such as Wicked, Deadpool and Wolverine, and Twisters. To open up our discussion, which Super Bowl trailers stood out to you?
Well, surprisingly enough, Twisters. I had no real interest in the movie. I thought, it sounded like a very strange franchise to bring back. I had never seen the first one, and it seemed like, what else can you do other than just throw another Twister? But surprisingly enough, it actually looked really entertaining. It's got some great scale to the action set pieces. You got Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones and a really solid cast. Brendan Pereira from Nope, I like him a lot. And Lee Isaac Chung, the director, he did Minari, a terrific movie, and it seems like he brought some of his sensibilities to this project, which is always good to see. You don't see that often with the transition from independent to big studio features, so it's cool that it still looks like it's from the director of Minari.
Yeah, I had the same experience. I'd never seen Twister. I had no experience with this franchise or whatever, and I was sort of middling on it, and then the trailer came out, and I sort of thought, I was a fan of Minari, and so it looks promising for those reasons. The reasons I see it has some stuff in common, like visually, with that movie, and the cast is great. Yeah, I was more excited than I thought I would be when I saw this trailer. I'm looking forward to this. I don't know what you think, Elle, but
I need to shut this down. I am not excited at all. It was in the same boat as you guys. I've never seen the original. I have no interest in seeing the original. I don't care about Twisters. There's too many Twisters. A sequel with more.
Isn't that the point of these movies?
It was 1996 when the original released. Don't you think it's a little too late for a new one?
Well, Top Gun was a big hit. And these days, it's all about bringing back old franchises that,
That was the 80s. That was even before Twister.
And the director, Joseph Kosinski, was almost going to make Twisters. He had to exit for another project, but there's a clear interest, and I imagine after the success of Top Gun and Avatar, both belated sequels, there's going to be a big drive to do more.
And they're doing that. Beetlejuice 2 is coming out this year.
Beetlejuice 2.
How do you guys feel about that one?
I was ambivalent on that, and then they released the title. That was what turned me around was
Beetlejuice.
That's funny. Like, I laughed. That's a good title.
That one I don't care for, because Tim Burton, his filmography has not been the best in the past decade, probably 2 decades if we're being real. And Beetlejuice is a movie I've never really cared for, and it just seems like a very strange film to bring back from the dead, but then again, that's how I felt about Twisters.
Sure.
So maybe a trailer will change my mind. One project I am excited for, another belated sequel, Gladiator 2. That one I'm very excited about.
Got a good cast.
Exactly. Paul Mescal, Denzel Washington, Joseph Quinn, and then you've got...
Joseph Quinn, it may be my only miss of the cast.
Well, you'd be disappointed with the...
I don't want to talk about Fantastic Four.
I was going to say The Quiet Place, because that was another Super Bowl spot, The Quiet Place prequel. He's in that. He's in Quiet Place Day 1.
I can't do a year of Joseph Quinn.
the Quinn slate, the Quinn takeover.
If he surprises, then it's like, hey, if he does well, then he does well, and then the year of Joseph Quinn will have been worth it.
Yeah.
I hope he proves me wrong.
Yeah, you're holding out for not much longer. But
I don't know. He lost me with Stranger Things.
He lost you right away?
He lost me right away.
Never had you in the first place.
Maybe he'll get me back on board with Gladiator 2. Maybe.
We're talking about Gladiator 2. We're talking about Beetlejuice 2. They're both movies that have been open about their use of practical effects. And we were talking about the Super Bowl trailers, and we have a movie that, at first glance, to me, I was dubious of it because it didn't seem like it was really employing practical effects that much. I thought it's sort of the look of this movie feels a little cheap, a little strange, a little blasé. It's the Wicked movie, which has been a long time coming.
Yes.
And you had some information about that.
Wicked is one I'm excited for.
Yeah.
I do not like musicals. I don't know why I'm excited for it, beyond the fact that most of it, of the set at least, is practical. The 9 million tulips planted for one scene.
9 million tulips.
That train in the Super Bowl trailer, that is a real built train on tracks. They made that happen. That excites me. It gives me a little bit of hope. Even though they're doing the same thing as like the Mean Girls musical, where they're not really marketing it as a musical, that concerns me a little bit. I
mean, you got the belt.
You did get the belt.
They put the belt in there.
But that was it.
That was kind of it.
What'd you think about the belt? Did you like the belt?
The belts from Wicked?
Yeah,
Like,
at the end of the
she's,
trailer.
Wicked is one I'm not really intrigued by. That was one where I watched the trailer and I was like, looks rather bland. And in regards to the whole practical effects thing, my perspective is that a tool, whether it's any type of film tool, whether it's shooting on film, shooting on digital, practical effects versus CGI, it doesn't matter. What matters is like who's using it. Because if you could have like some of the best effects team in the world, if the director running it, if the person running the whole show doesn't know how to handle it, then it just all falls apart, you know? Like some of the best movies I've ever seen, or some of the best looking movies I've ever seen are fully CGI. You know, it's like the Avatar movies are full on CGI and they're stunning to look at. I mean, the first film still holds up more than 14 years later.
That's true.
And even a lot of films that hype up how much practical effects they use, like there's a lot of hidden CGI you never notice, like last year's The Killer, right? The Killer with Michael Fassbender.
That's a great example,
There's so much like invisible CGI you would never guess. Like they would make whole buildings, whole motorcycle
helmets, yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like,
crazy.
and you're thinking you would never guess it. And I mean, that's a testament to David Fincher as a whole. That's been out throughout his whole career of invisible CGI. But you know, I think in general, it's like, you can tell me, oh yeah, we've got practical effects, we've got this and that. Well, do they still make the movie experience better? Like, is the film better for it as a whole, and did you take full advantage of it, or is that just a marketing gimmick?
I think you bring up a really good point. And you know what I didn't think about is Planet of the Apes coming out,
Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Talk about investment in these franchises. That's been going on since we were kids. I think like this iteration of the franchise has been around since
my dad
2011,
was,
and then further back into the 60s. Yeah.
That CGI has gotten better with time.
That's
So I agree there that you bring up a really good point that we don't need, well, yeah, practical effects on paper looks fantastic.
It's important to keep it alive for sure.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Planet of the Apes, the Avatar series, they do CGI well.
It's like you just got to have directors that know what they're doing, that know how to handle these, and are in cooperation with the visual effects artists. Being friend with some, I'm friends with some visual effects artists myself, and they tell me that there's a whole bunch of things that go into making the CGI work. It's like the director has to know what he wants, or she or they. The director has to know what they're going to shoot, like what they're looking for, and obviously they're going to need time too. That's like a big discussion about how like VFX artists are just slammed and they don't have enough time to like put together the film, especially when they're basically being told to just do everything, you know, because a lot of directors will just be all like, just shoot CGI, they don't really have a vision, then they just give it to the artist and like, okay, make everything. Wes Ball, who's making the new Planet of the Apes film, you know, he comes from a visual effects background, and that really shows not just in this new one, but also the Maze Runner movies, which he made.
Yeah.
So with the conversation of VFX versus practical, does that weigh in on what movie you're most excited for this year at all?
Well, I mean, in terms of VFX versus practical, there's a great deal of interesting filmmaking. There's the thing that has been on my mind in terms of what I'm anticipating this year is a movie called I Saw the TV Glow, which is coming out, and that's a filmmaker named Jane Schoenbrum. And in terms of effects and the way that their movies are made, the first movie was all like in camera, like on a computer, all done in screen, and this movie has, as far as I'm aware, it's a horror film, so there's bound to be some interesting stuff in that regard there, but it's like a coming of age horror, queer horror film. So that seems very interesting to me, and I like their films a lot.
Yeah. What about you?
I'm really excited to see what Francis Ford Coppola does with Megalopolis and just how he incorporates modern technology with the scale and the vision he has planned. And I mean, just Megalopolis itself is an exciting project because it's something he's been trying to make for decades. But now, like with some things I've heard about the production and like what he plans to do, it sounds really exciting.
I'm gonna go with the basic answer: Furiosa. Can't go wrong with it.
Yeah.
Mad Max series is fantastic. I love all those movies, and I have faith in Anya Taylor-Joy. She's done some great stuff. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that wraps up our first discussion of the season. Now over to Dante with the news. Dante?
Hey everyone, I'm Dante and welcome to the News Corner. I'll be here all season going over the latest news stories. First up, Bong Joon-ho, acclaimed director of Parasite and Snowpiercer, has announced that he will make an animated film that is said to be the most expensive Korean film at $52 million US. This film will likely release after Mickey 17, which has been pushed to January 31st of 2025. As the streaming wars carry on, Paramount Plus has been attempting to merge with another platform. An unnamed source from the Wall Street Journal revealed that a conversation between Paramount and Peacock was had. For both companies, this would mean saving money for programming, marketing, and more. This comes only a few months after a similar report was made about Paramount doing the same with Apple. An announcement has yet to be made. The Silk Spider Society writers' room has reportedly been scrapped by Amazon. The show is centered around Cindy Moon, the Korean-American spider heroine. As of right now, only the show's showrunner and co-executive producer are still attached to the project. The report further explained that this was due to refocusing of the show's audience to be more male-dominated. Nothing further has been announced, but audiences are hoping that the character will do Cindy Moon's character justice. OpenAI's new tool Sora creates hyper-realistic videos from just simple world inputs. The program isn't available to the public as of right now, but is already causing public concern. The videos can be up to 60 seconds in length, and although the programming isn't perfect yet, it is still creating discourse on the possible harm it could have on the film industry going forward. After a SAG-AFTRA strike last year that was focused on use of AI, it's clear that AI in film industry is not a problem that's going away soon, as people will keep trying to replace the hard work of hundreds with a machine that doesn't have the same passion or creativity. The future of Kaiju vs. Acme is still unclear, after tumultuous development in which the film was initially shelved, then being shipped to different studios. After initial offers didn't meet Warner Brothers' demands, it is looking like the initial plans of completely erasing the movie will be its fate. Reports are even suggesting that Warner Brothers CEO David Salaf hasn't even seen the film, despite all these compilations. Fans are still hoping that the film will be released one way or another. That's all for the news this week. Now over to Gianna in the field.
Love me like your host. Love me like your host. Hey guys, my name is Gianna, and I am your host this season. Let me get really comfortable in this chair, but not so comfortable because we are about to be going outside in the cold and having people rank nepo babies with this beautiful, beautiful sign. There's 5, but shh, they're a secret. You're just gonna have to see to find out. So let's go out into the cold. I'm gonna freeze my butt off, but you guys are gonna be sweating hot because I am on your screen. So let's get to it. All right, so we are here at Trisha, my beautiful, beautiful friend, and we are going to be asking her to rank these 5 super secret, top secret nepo babies. So, JR, would you please give her the first person?
Wait, can I change my rankings after I see a new person?
No. And is there like a way you want to rank them? Or you just like going with the flow, vibe, hot, sexy, ugly, annoying?
Talent. But I don't know. Okay. He's a pretty talented nepo baby, but like there could be you guys could have like a secret one back there that I'm not thinking of.
Okay.
I don't really care. I don't really pay attention to Broadway. I just know from like that one.
What about
movie.
Pitch Perfect?
Oh.
What about Pitch Perfect?
Yeah. Oh god. Actually, I think this kind of works out. I agree with this order.
Have you seen Madam Web, Trisha?
No, and I really don't want to.
Our web connects us together.
Yeah.
Connects all of us. Even you, Trisha. Would you like to give her the first one?
What's his name again?
Robert Downey Jr.
Okay, Robert Downey Jr. Actually, I just got out of class while watching Kill Off Lumber Moon, so number 1.
And is there a way you are ranking these people?
No, not really.
Love.
Valid,
Okay.
valid, love that.
I don't know him.
Ben
so
Platt.
4. I'll leave like the last to the last one.
I love that, I love that.
Oh, I know her from 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
Yeah, love me like you do, love me like you do.
Amazing.
He looks really familiar.
Have you seen The Boys? That's Jack Quaid of The Boys.
Okay.
Scream 2022, question mark?
Yeah.
Oh.
Breaking the rules.
Yes.
And then,
Last
finally,
person.
do you know who she is?
No.
Sofia Coppola, director of Priscilla.
Okay.
Ooh,
Yeah, woman.
Nepo,
Nepo Bays.
Oh, actually, I am. My mom is a film producer.
Really? Okay, then what do you do?
What do you do?
Go to graduate school and feel like I don't have find a job and then go to like a PhD degree.
Okay.
afterwards.
Oh.
Nepotism!
Yeah. All right. So that was the end of this. And I think if you ask me who my favorite Nepo baby is, it has got to be Ben Platt because I met him once. This is proof. Proof, guys. Met him at Into the Woods. So kind. And when he says, is anybody waving back at me? He waved back at me. And he took a picture with me. And he did much more. Like, give me a kiss. So, who's really jealous now? Who's the real Nepo baby? It's me. And let's go back to the studio. I hope I didn't make you guys sweat too much.
Thanks, Gianna. Welcome back to the studio. This season at Extra Emerson, we want to highlight some outstanding student productions at our school in our new segment. Joining us in our inaugural production showcase are the producers behind the newest season of Hit Point Hall. Take a look at this.
Hello, and welcome to A Starborn Wedding.
Howdy! Hello, and welcome to Season 2 of Hit Point Hall.
Hi, besties. Welcome back to Season 3 of Hit Point Hall.
I forgot to use the cup.
I forgot to use the cup. Oh my god, this is so stressful.
She stole our memories. She stole our memories. She said it.
Good. Good. I need somebody inconspicuous that is so dumb that nobody will look at him twice.
Joining us in the studio today are the executive producers of Hit Point Hall, Aiden Owen, DJ Castillo, and James Thompson. Thank you guys for coming on the show.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you.
We're
Honored
really
to have
excited to be here. Thanks for having us on. Inaugural showcase. It's going to be a good one.
Very exciting that you guys are here. We're thrilled to have you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, what did it take to set up a show like that?
A lot actually goes into the process. The pre-production process for a season of Hit Point Hall actually starts end of the previous semester because we start by hiring our new DM for the season. It's a long and arduous process, but
A lot of interviews.
yeah, exactly.
I'm sure people are really eager to be on your show.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
But yeah, once we're done, once we have a DM hired, we usually take the next break or so to kind of like figure out how we're going to execute this season. A lot of it can't be done until we hire a director, but we do what we can in the meantime, contact whatever parties we need, just like do as much pre-pro as we can over the break. And then once the semester starts, we get to hiring weekend, we hire our director, we hire our cast and crew, stuff like that. And then we have 4 specific shoot dates. The first one is sort of like a practice shoot date where we kind of figure out what we're doing, and then by the end we have our Inside the Hall live stream, which is basically sort of a look into what each season would look like. We actually had our Inside the Hall live stream about
a week ago this time.
Exactly.
30-minute live stream talking about the show, what it's going to look like. It went great. It was lovely.
It's fantastic, yeah.
It's going to be a really hype season. And honestly, then after that, we have our 3 shoot dates. Our show is, I feel, is really unique among a lot of like Emerson studio shows in that we are completely live to tape. We have, we basically just shoot the entire thing in like one, usually about 90-minute session with a break in between, and just to get, yeah. And from there on out, it's usually about a month to edit an episode, but this season, we have a caveat. For our season finale, we are going to be going entirely live.
Oh, wow.
So
That's
hour
exciting.
And a half of live footage. It's very exciting. It's going to cut down on post-pro a lot, and it'll make, again, like James was talking about, the turnover between seasons happens immediately. We don't have the break. So going live in that final episode will allow us to just start way earlier and hopefully just kind of ease the process along much more.
Yeah, a show like this with so many moving parts, I wanted to ask, in all these different departments, in particular, the process of working with character artists as players, as DMs, as producers, things like that. What is that like on Hit Point Hall?
I mean, it's changed a lot over the past few seasons, just because season 1, we had a lot going on there.
Go watch season 1.
Yeah, go watch season 1, and season 2 and season 3, and season 4.
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, but it's very tedious. A lot of it is just kind of prep because we really don't know who our players are until we hire them. And by that point, we are waiting for our shoot dates and everything kind of starts rolling immediately. The good thing, like Aiden said, about us going live and having like our 2 live to tape is that we have that time now to kind of work with our character artists and sketch out these ideas of what our character looks like, what our characters look like, and what the story is that we're really trying to tell. And I think something that's really fortunate about this season is that one of our players is actually one of our character artists as well, Madison Stromsky.
So much love to Madison.
Shout out Madison.
Yes, shout out Madison.
Stromsky, of course, yes.
Familiar face in these Tough D studios. But yeah, it's absolutely wonderful. I mean, it's such a joy to be able to bring more student work to already growing student production. So.
It's such a buzzword we use all the time talking about our show, but it is really so unique in that, like, as the creative producer on the show, I'm not coming in every season with new characters. I'm relying on the cast we hire to build characters and describe them to us. So we have a lot of creative meetings, talking with them and seeing what their vision for their character is, and it's a lot of sketches back and forth and back and forth. So it's we're kind of turning over our creative vision for the show to a new face every season, and it just really gives a cool anthology creative feel to it.
It's exciting as a viewer too to see what happens.
And every season is so vastly different. You know, last season we did like a 50s beach town mystery, which was very bright and very bouncy and very comedic, and this season we're doing perhaps the exact polar opposite, which is a Southern Gothic horror. So it's a really cool game to play in the anthology space like that.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the show. It's just so versatile.
Yeah.
So, of course, yeah.
I was going to ask you, so you guys used to do Dungeons & Dragons, but you guys have changed your game. What made you guys want to do that?
Oh boy. I mean, talking about the anthology nature of the show, we plan to keep playing Dungeons & Dragons for different seasons, but there are so many different tabletop games. You know, Dungeons & Dragons is the most popular one. It's one everyone knows, but it's not the only one.
Right.
And there were a couple creative reasons we went with the new system, which is called Tremulous.
Yes.
Partly because it's much more dramatic and much more geared toward a low magic, very horror-esque season, which is what we wanted to do, right? And then also, again, we just want to keep branching out and innovating. We want to do new things every season. We're going live this season. We're doing more live streams. So the new system really felt like a way for us to be able to play more in a different idea and branch out into the larger world of it, you know?
Just more on how dynamic the show is.
More dynamic the show is, you know, we're just, and welcoming new people into the space who might not play D&D but might play other games, right? It's just, it's such a cool, and it's really enabled the storytelling in a way. It hasn't hampered it, it's kind of raised it up because we're playing with new rules and new mechanics and new ideas. It's just, it's been a really, really cool experience.
Yeah. In launching this campaign, there's been a lot of rollout on social media as to the sort of inspirations behind the campaign, the different influences it has, and bouncing off of that question, a lot of that has been cinematic, the stuff that you've been showing off. And if you could turn any movie into a tabletop game, a campaign,
oh boy,
what would you pick? That's sort of our fun question, I guess.
James, you go first, because I have nothing.
This is going to be a very interesting choice. But I'm gonna pick The Thing.
Really? You love The Thing.
Yeah.
Here's great
the thing.
choice.
Okay, but here's the thing. Every
Is it
time
just
we
because you
make
wanted to
this
say
joke-
that?
No, it actually isn't. I honestly, I think The Thing is just such a thrilling story, and just being able, like, I feel like if it were turned into like a tabletop RPG, like maybe like the players like wouldn't even know if they were the thing or something like that. And you roll to decide who is the thing.
Players like messing with the other players, and like you have that interactivity is so interesting.
It's so suspenseful. That's fantastic.
Yeah. What do you? I have one, and I'll let you land
I
us.
truly have nothing.
It's the exact opposite of our season, but I would love a really like dumb, and it already feels like a D&D campaign, but Monty Python and the Holy Grail feels so like stupid D&D fantasy. Where like the movie ends early because they get arrested by the police. Like that feels so D&D. Like the DM just runs out of notes. It's like, well, the cops get you. I guess.
Show up now.
Yeah, the cops show up, I guess.
Aiden, that is an inspired choice. How did I not think of that?
I grew up on Monty Python. I grew up on a bunch of like those like absurd highball comedies. So like, I would love to do that.
I would truly do any horror movie. I just think it's so like an amalgamation of horror movies. I would probably, like, if I had to pin one down, Friday the 13th, because it's the funniest thing to me.
Summer camp vibes.
Yeah, like summer camp vibes. I also just think it's a funny movie, even though it's a horror movie.
It is.
Because like,
A little twisted. Okay.
yeah. I mean, like it's.
I mean, the main villain is named Jason.
Right. So
Run, it's
let's-
Jason.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it's Jason.
Jason
Voorhees.
Derulo.
Jason Derulo.
Maybe in the game? He's going to be in the game.
No, yeah,
All right,
Jason
no
Derulo
spoilers
makes a
for the final
cameo.
episode, but the final villain of our season is renowned R&B singer Jason Derulo.
Friday the 13th, but Jason Voorhees is just replaced with Jason
Yeah.
Derulo.
We've gone off the
We
rails.
have a lot of cameos this season.
We've gone off the rails.
Well, that's what you're here for, let's be honest.
Yeah,
It's the
we came
energy
in
that we want on our
chaos
show,
we're
and
bringing.
thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
We're really looking forward to seeing what this new season is about, what this brings to the table, and we will be right back after a short break.
Well, the Oscars are coming up very soon, and obviously us hosts have a lot of opinions. To share said opinions, we've created a little game of could win, should win. Elle, care to explain?
Each of us will have a minute to explain which films we believe could win and should win some of the most important categories this year. While could win is restricted to the films nominated, should win is not. The first category we'll be discussing is Best Original Screenplay. And personally, I think Anatomy of a Fall could win, but my heart lies with Past Lives. I really wanted to take it home. What about you guys?
I think Holdovers is going to win. Personally, I think out of all these movies, I think Holdovers is the best. And while obviously the screenplay is a much different award, I think Holdovers did have the best screenplay. To me, it's between Holdovers, Anatomy of a Fall, and Past Lives, all good movies. My final prediction is Holdovers, and I think it should win as well.
I'm also of the belief that Anatomy of a Fall is likely going to take this award, but May December would be my pick. Sammy Birch's screenplay, it just had this wonderful feeling of like just something uncomfortable, like you're watching something you shouldn't, and the way the themes of like, you know, how Hollywood takes like an actual real life situation and just scandalizes it. It hits really hard, and the fact that that's her first screenplay, that just really blew me away.
Is it really?
It is.
It is.
Okay, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I loved May December. I think out of these 5 nominees, that's the one that I would pick personally that should win this award. I do think Anatomy of a Fall, the track that it's on, makes sense as a winner in this category. I do think Holdovers kind of holds a tentative second place there, though. I wouldn't be surprised if that won. And out of the movies that aren't nominated for this category, the only other contender I can really think of that I would slot in there would be Asteroid City. That's an original screenplay this year that I really loved.
Okay. Now, what about adapted? What do we think about that?
Okay. Well, I mean...
Well, it will be Oppenheimer, and
yeah,
it should be
Oppenheimer makes a perfect sense. I think that it's pretty much guaranteed to win.
It just got the balance of like time and the difference in perspective between Oppenheimer and Louis Strauss, but also just that unnerving feeling it has. Like it's like the ticking time bomb, for lack of a better term. It was just a stunning screenplay.
Speaking of bombs, I'm about to drop one. I didn't even have Oppenheimer listed as my could or should. I had Poor Things as the could. Because that was fantastic.
Sure, it's a good screenplay. I like that.
But my should, I had All of Us Strangers.
That's a great poll.
That was
I
like
have that written down here too. I think that's a great screenplay. I mean, I don't know about. I think biggest contender there, and people could punch their TVs over this too, is Barbie. I think that's the clearest runner-up in this
I
category.
mean, none of us even said that. So is it the runner-up?
I'm not saying should. I'm saying in terms of the track it's on.
Over American Fiction.
Yeah, you have a point there, actually. I think American Fiction, it could sneak in, but part of me really thinks.
Well, yeah, American Fiction is like the biggest like contender with Oppenheimer at this moment.
Yeah.
And I think that is undeserved. Anyway,
Fiction.
Best
Wow.
Supporting Actor. Who do we have? Should we say it on 3?
I think let's see.
We might.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1. Robert Downey
Jr.
Jr.
We all
Okay,
think
great, fantastic.
That feels obvious. That feels obvious to all of us, right?
I was a little concerned.
Where's that his team?
Yeah, no.
This was a very strong year for in terms of the Best Supporting Actor category, but Robert Downey Jr. really just, what he did as Louis Strauss in Oppenheimer, that's something just unbelievable. That was truly just an astonishing performance.
I think the RDJ thing is that it's a career win, and it's the right time in his career for him to get an Oscar. And if he doesn't win, he's going to try again, and it's going to be a worse performance in a worse movie. That's my hypothesis. So I think it's right to give it to him now. And
listen, an actor I would have liked to see in the nominees was Dominic Sessa in Holdovers.
I agree.
That's true.
I think he should have been put in. I don't think he should have won, but I think he did a fantastic job, especially in his first role ever.
Yes. Now, what about supporting actress? What do we think there?
Do you think we all have the same one for this?
I think.
Do you think
Should we do it again? Yes.
Do it again?
Divine,
Divine Joy-
okay.
okay,
You said it.
well,
Spoiler. Divine Rudolph.
Divine Joy
fantastic.
Randolph, yes.
Yeah,
Oh my
terrific
God.
performance. But I will say, as great as she was, the real the should-be winner is not even nominated, and that's Penelope Cruz in Ferrari.
I think we're on the same page, at least a nomination.
I'm going to say one who I don't think deserved the nomination.
Interesting.
I don't think, oh my God. I think Florence Pugh should have gotten it over
Emily Blunt.
Over Emily Blunt, whose name I forgot, which is that's how unimportant she was in the movie. Florence Pugh should have had it.
Objectively correct.
She had more impact on the plot, and I'm putting that out there, and I'm sticking with it.
What does that matter in terms of performance, though?
But it was a better performance too.
That's subjective.
Do you think she had better material?
I think she stood out to me more in like an acting way, and not in the way you're thinking. I think she.
That's a call. We're coming in hot. Wow.
I think she did a great job with the little time she was given, just like we were talking about with the supporting actors.
Sure.
Florence Pugh, her name was like second on the poster.
Yeah, I feel like they were both equally important.
I think Blunt's clearly in there for the scene where she's being questioned. Like that.
Yeah.
Watching that, I was like, oh, she's getting an Oscar nomination.
All right.
Okay, Best Actor. Let's talk about Best Actor.
Sure.
Are we gonna? Do we all say it? It's on three? Do we think we have the same one?
I think it's like 95%.
Okay.
For.
We'll try it. We'll try it.
Yeah.
3, 2,
1.
Cillian Murphy. Okay.
Yes.
All right, there we go.
Hear me out for my should've.
Oh, no.
Barry Keogan. Saltburn.
No.
He was so good in it.
No. No. Stop.
Despise that movie.
It was
That movie
so
is
funny.
trash and not in a fun way.
I would like Barry Keogan to have his moment so I can stop seeing his little naked butt run around. Because they just
he
put him in
will.
a
He will
magazine.
have
Did you
to.
see
You can
that?
just stop using Twitter.
I can't.
All right. Now for Best Actress, this is an interesting one because I think we're more divided on this.
Really?
Yeah.
This one is a real. It's a real tight race, I think, in some ways, because I think Lily Gladstone clearly is.
That's my pick.
The front runner, and she's my pick. I don't know about you all, but
Oh, she's mine as well.
Yeah.
She's absolutely mine.
yeah.
Dante, who'd you have?
I have no idea, honestly. I think it's between
Sure,
Emma
fair
Stone,
enough.
Sandra Huller, and Lily Gladstone.
Yeah.
I thought Carey Mulligan was really good at Maestro.
I like her a
I thought
lot.
she was so
Really? That's a
good.
good
She carried the movie on her back.
Really now.
That's fair.
I didn't like I only watched it for her. I like Bradley Cooper wasn't even a contender in my Best Actor. She that is her movie.
I think that movie is flawed. I think she's pretty great in that. And I think it's Lily Gladstone's to take, and I think Emma Stone is the only real contender there.
Okay, you know what? You got a point there.
I would say Gladstone as well, though Emma Stone would be a good contender as well.
Okay.
All right. And finally, of course, there's Best Picture, and we've got 9 movies this year?
It was 10, I think.
Okay.
Was it 10? Wow.
That's because Zone of Interest is that forgettable.
Whoa, that's a big thing to say here. That's a big.
You're not wrong.
All those movies on there, and that's the one you choose?
Well, first of all,
Yes.
What do you think? Should be removed.
Well, probably Maestro. What the
Okay, you know what? You're right.
Yeah, you're right. Never mind.
I take that back.
First of all, I think we can all agree that Oppenheimer
Yes.
is a lock at this
1000%.
for Best Picture.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
The only thing that I think, for me personally, felt as important as Seismic this year was Killers of the Flower Moon. That's a movie I would be happy seeing take Best Picture, but that's not saying that I am not a fan of Oppenheimer taking that award.
You know what? I want my little Songbird holdovers to get it. I think she deserves it.
That's in there. That's in the mix for sure.
Ferrari
Golden
should have been
Globes,
nominated.
so-
That's
No.
Nope.
You just pissed me off. I want to end this segment. I'm done.
Team here.
I'm
I
done.
think that's a great movie.
I can't do this anymore. That was all the time we had. We're gonna have to wait and see whose predictions win on March 10th. This is also the conclusion of the first episode.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you very much for everyone watching. We hope to see you again for all the amazing things planned this season. We'll see you next time, Extra Emersonians.
Thank you.